Visionaries is proud to present its 12th season on public television. Over the last dozen years, we have taken you all across America and to 50 countries in the world, telling stories that celebrate those that have committed their lives to the greater good. This episode of Visionaries represents a new endeavor in our ongoing quest to explore the best in human nature. It is called American Commons. It is a new series of programs that will explore the American landscape in search of the stories that define our nation. You see, in all of our travels, we have found one truth that transcends race, religion, or political affiliation. It is the deep connection we have with the land. All of us are bound to some piece of the earth. It might be as grand as yearning for the wilderness, or as commonplace as the love for your hometown, or even your own backyard. Our guide and storyteller is Will Rogers, president of the Trust for Public Land. We join him now as he takes us first to one of the most breathtaking pieces of land in America, then next on to Atlanta to witness a city renewing its commitment to open space.
Goleta, California is a relatively newly incorporated city. We incorporated 4 years ago, and it's about 30,000 population. It's just up coast from the city of Santa Barbara, and it was already quite a populated urban area before the incorporation. We enjoy a lot of open space and agricultural areas near Goleta, and I think preserving those were part of the motivation for becoming a city so that we could have our own government that would shape the preservation of those areas the way that the community wanted to have it done.
Ellwood Mesa has a long history. It was actually used for oil development back around the turn of the last century, but it's been in open space for so long that the community really feels ownership of it. And it's typical of many land preservation efforts where the land is actually privately owned, but it's so heavily publicly used that people feel like it belongs to them.
Every year, millions of acres are developed across the country. It certainly makes it more complicated to establish the places we want to share in common. And the media doesn't always make it any easier. They tend to cast it as a battle with two sides, developers and preservationists. But it doesn't have to be that way, does it?
No. In today's world, I think the best projects are developed with the cooperation of the private enterprise and the public entity and the local residents working together to come up with what works for everybody.
You know, something really remarkable happened here, and it took a lot of people to make it happen, and you were a critical element. I'm curious how it came about.
It really took about 6 months to understand the specialness of Ellwood. When I first got involved, people would talk about the Ellwood experience.
And he fell in love with it. And the spectacular thing is he didn't fall in love with the ocean views, with saying, oh my gosh, look at this mesa, imagine having a house here, and walking down the steps to the beach. He said, this is a beautiful piece of land. He loved the butterflies.
And having worked on the project for about 6 to 9 months, you come to understand the regionality of the site and what it has to offer to the whole country, not only just this area here.
But originally there was going to be development here, and I think what interested me was the flexibility on the part of everyone to explore different opportunities for how it could turn out.
Well, it was really the kind of funny. When we got involved here, they had the rights to build 162 units here, and leaving the last planning meeting, the county attorney at that time looked at me and said, Bob, it's too bad you weren't here 10 years ago. And I said, why? He said, well, I would like to talk to you about a trade. So I didn't think anything of it and left the meeting and went and called the prior owner and said, hey, what's this trade? What's this thing? He said, oh, don't waste your time. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
In 1992, we approached the developer for Ellwood and the County of Santa Barbara and said, how about doing a land exchange? How about swapping the land between the county and the private ownership and move the housing away from the coast and away from the bluff? Well, neither the developer nor the county wanted to do that. That idea just died.
We went back to the county and said, that makes all the good planning sense in the world. We're going to have everybody, on board.
That's great. So you purposely made things harder for yourself to come out with a better result for the community.
Exactly.
And he really understood the ecological value of the property. And so when we talked about moving the houses and making this an amenity for those houses as well as for the existing community, he got it. And he never once asked again about developing on the mesa.
From what I understand, the site that you're developing is extraordinary in terms of its appeal.
Well, it's extremely extraordinary from the standpoint that it abuts the Ellwood Mesa, which is now a 3.5 mile preserve right on the coast.
Balance is really about finding the right relationship between people and nature on the land. And a really tough job is imagining a whole new kind of landscape, more like a woven fabric of people and land, rather than a patchwork quilt with people in one place and open space and land someplace else.